Hi, this is Mike Grehan live at SES Chicago. It's day 2. We just had a fabulous keynote panel. On the panel with me was Kevin Lee. And Kevin, we have this conversation. We've had it going for quite some time at SES about the impact of converged media, and it's always great to get three great minds together and see what they think. What does it all mean? You were part of the conversation this morning. What were the kind of things that you would take away from that?
I think one of the key takeaways was that marketers really need to think about digital media and even the broader marketing set from the perspective of, how is everything that I'm doing working together to bring the highest possible profit lift or revenue lift or whatever their KPIs are, as well as reevaluating what their KPIs are and whether they're thinking too myopically about thank you pages or white paper downloads, and should they really think about the entire process that their prospects, their consumers, and even the influencers go through before they engage with the brand or the product.
So we talked about paid, owned, earned, which is kind of a fairly universal phrase, I think, for the way that we talk about and manage media online. Something else that we talked about is because it's there, because the entry level isn't so great, because you can do it all, should you do it all?
Yeah, I think that one of the takeaways there was just to have sufficient focus on whatever you're currently working on now, that you can really see what any particular channel or tactic or initiative is delivering. Because if you stretch yourself too thin, your analytics or whatever method of data collection that you're using won't be able to determine whether or not some things that you're doing are actually moving the needle or not.
And what about KPIs? We did talk about that. And we talked about metrics that have been around for like 60 years, where we're trying to take terminology and ways of measuring things from media such as radio, TV, and press. Whereas now there are entirely different ways of measuring things and determining how successful you are with your campaigns, yeah?
Sure. I mean, back in the days when I was at McCann Erickson and J. Walter Thompson, reach and frequency and GRPs were buzzwords, and they're actually resurfacing now to some extent within the IAB's frameworks. But I think a lot of the marketers that do extend beyond paid media into shared, owned, and earned media are really thinking a little bit more holistically about, what KPIs should I use, because influence becomes so important. Influence of people's behavior, influence of people's thinking, and influence of people's social graph.
And let's just talk about the agency side of the business. I mean, you're a veteran. You've been in the industry for 17, 18 years and started kind of like in that one channel in search, but you're offering a much broader range of services to your clients now, yeah?
Yeah, it was. We resisted as long as we could. We thought that being a search boutique should be great for pretty much anyone for whom search was important. But the aha moment came a few years ago for us when we realized the level to which search was being influenced by everything else that the client was doing, but also everything else that the client's competition was doing. And so we had to be monitoring what the client's competition was doing in paid, owned and shared media and earned media, as well as what they were doing in messaging. And being more holistic allowed us to sort of sometimes take a little bit of money away from search and maybe place it somewhere else in retargeted display or traditional display or social media. And we had to build the expertise there and even do some M&A work and do some acquisitions.
Well, great job this morning, Kevin. Thanks very much for joining us. Always good to have you at SES.
Thank you, Mike.
And that's it. Mike Grehan live at SES Chicago. Back with more later.